Have you ever felt like your life is turning upside down, and at the same time, everything feels strangely orchestrated? Like the chaos has been choreographed with eerie precision? If that's happening to you right now, pay attention. It's not bad luck. It's not punishment. It's a tear in the veil, and yes, it comes with pain, with confusion, but also with synchronicities that just won't stop showing up. And the more you ignore them, the louder they get. This isn't a coincidence. It's the universe trying to wake you up, with spiritual slaps and signs that scream where there used to be silence. No one told you this, but collapse is a blessing in disguise. The breakdown of your normal life might be exactly what you asked for, back when you were begging for change. Only the answer came without a manual. And now you need to understand what's really going on behind the mess. In this video, you'll discover why everything is falling apart on purpose, how synchronicities are revealing an invisible way out, and what to do now so you don't lose yourself again. Because here's the truth. Either you wake up or you stay stuck in the loop. And once you truly wake up, you never sleep the same again. When everything starts spiraling out of control, relationships shake, projects stall, health fluctuates without reason, the first reaction is usually panic. But behind that breakdown lies a much deeper calling, the tearing of the veil. What once served as a kind of anesthesia for the soul begins to wear off, and the outer world reflects that unraveling through collapse. This kind of chaos is rarely the end. More often than not, it's the necessary push for an expansion of consciousness that's long been postponed. The old reality doesn't start falling apart because something went wrong, but because what was holding it together no longer makes sense. It's as if the universe starts pulling the thread of a fabric stitched together by outdated beliefs, inherited patterns, and autopilot decisions. And once that thread is pulled, the unraveling is inevitable. Synchronicity begins to appear as a kind of coded response. Repeating numbers, phrases that seem to follow you, people who show up with uncannily precise messages. None of it is random. This is when many try to hold the ruins together, patch up the cracks, save what has already ended. But the more you resist, the more painful it gets. The tearing of the veil demands surrender. It demands acceptance that the old must die so the true can be born. This moment isn't about fixing everything. It's about seeing clearly what's emerging from behind the wreckage. And when your vision begins to open, the next stage reveals itself. The universe turns up the volume on synchronicity. When the veil begins to lift, the universe starts speaking louder. Synchronicities stop being occasional and begin to feel like their own language. It's as if reality itself starts responding with uncanny accuracy to everything you think, feel, or fear. Seeing the same number repeatedly throughout the day, hearing the same phrase in totally different places and contexts, meeting someone who brings up exactly what you were just reflecting on. None of this is random. These are signs that consciousness is expanding right now. Carl Jung called them meaningful coincidences, events with no causal link, yet filled with deep significance. And when they begin happening frequently, it means the connection between your inner world and the outer world is stronger than ever. The universe responds with pinpoint accuracy. Thoughts become encounters, emotions turn into messages. The invisible shows up in the visible like a script written just for you. And this isn't magic. It's vibrational alignment in motion. For those who are paying attention, this phenomenon becomes a compass. And those who learn to use it can navigate beyond the chaos. A powerful practice is to write down every synchronicity in a journal. Daily. Small coincidences, repeating patterns, phrases that arrive at the exact right moment. By doing this, you train your mind to observe the subtle field, and the more you notice, the more signs appear. Because consciousness expansion isn't a final destination. It's a process that unfolds one symbol at a time. And soon, those signs will begin to point you towards something even deeper. The idea of a veil between realities might sound too mystical at first, but it's more practical than it seems. This veil is everything that's been built to keep your perception limited. Inherited beliefs, rigid ideas about what's real, fear of the unseen. When the veil tears, what once seemed like coincidence begins to look like precision. And that shift in perception isn't delusion. It's a direct sign that consciousness is beginning to expand. Seeing the world with clear eyes changes everything. This expansion doesn't happen like magic. It requires surrender. The mind starts making connections that didn't make sense before. Thinking of someone and they call, feeling a sudden urgency and narrowly avoiding an accident minutes later, having a dream and watching it unfold in detail. These are signs that consciousness is accessing layers beyond linear time. The veil that once separated the physical from the subtle begins to thin, and in certain moments, it completely dissolves. Those going through this process often feel like they're living in two worlds at once, the real and the even more real. That's when concepts like parallel realities, the quantum field, and multidimensional consciousness stop being theories. They become lived experience. Sometimes it can be unsettling, but it can also be liberating. Because when you realize you're not confined to what you can see, you begin to recognize the power you've always had but never used. And that's when the pain that once seemed overwhelming starts to make sense. The pain that arises during a veil-tearing process isn't accidental. It comes as a messenger, a signal that something is out of place, not in the external world, but within the inner field. When everything starts to lose meaning and the ground seems to disappear, what's really happening is an emptying out. The soul begins to push out everything that's misaligned with its true purpose. It's not punishment, it's preparation. A kind of spiritual cleansing that, while uncomfortable, is deeply necessary. This pain shows up in many forms. Relationships that end abruptly, jobs that no longer hold together, old dreams that suddenly lose their meaning. You feel like you're breaking, but in truth you're being shaped, refined, honed. It's as if the universe is saying, what you thought was you was just the role you were taught to play. And pain, in all its intensity, tears through that false script, so a new one can begin, written with authenticity. Ignoring that pain is like trying to cover the sun with a sieve. The light is still there, asking to be seen. A simple but powerful practice is to write a letter to yourself, answering the question, what am I pretending doesn't hurt? That question alone can open deep portals of self-awareness. Because when you face your pain with courage, it shows you what needs healing. And once the healing begins, the signs intensify. And then comes the inevitable question, what do I do with all of this? When the veil falls, what do you do with everything that's been revealed? Because seeing is only the beginning. The real challenge is staying awake. Many people awaken in a moment of pain, but once life settles down, they slip back into autopilot, as if nothing ever happened. And that's the risk. Going back to a life that your consciousness has already outgrown. Expansion can't be a one-time event. It needs to become a way of life. And that begins with small, conscious choices in your daily routine. The first of these is grounding. Simple, yet powerful. Just 5 minutes of silence and deep breathing before starting your day can shift your frequency. Using affirmations like, I choose to stay awake, may seem trivial, but when done with presence, it has a real impact. The second is conscious journaling. Recording synchronicities, dreams, emotions, and insights helps you stay attuned to the invisible, because the invisible does speak, but only those who practice listening can truly hear. And the third is vibrational filtering, choosing who you spend time with. what you consume, what you speak. These three practices build a field around your awareness that keeps you from slipping back into old cycles. And even when missteps happen, because they will, you no longer fall into the same holes. You recognize the pattern, you see the sign, and you choose differently. That's real empowerment. Not the power to control everything, but the clarity to respond wisely. And when you live from that state, something curious begins to happen. Synchronicities stop being just signs. They become clear answers that the universe is conspiring with you. Now that all of this has been revealed, tell me, what are you going to do with this knowledge? Will you keep living on autopilot, pretending you didn't understand the signs? Or will you finally face the tearing of the veil and start crossing through it? Because here's something no one told you. Your life only changes when you change the way you see what happens to you. As long as you treat synchronicities as random things, you'll keep receiving the same warnings, only louder, more intense, and more painful. So answer in the comments, what was the sign that hit you the hardest? What pattern did you recognize in today's video? What practice are you going to start today to begin breaking the cycle? Write it down, because when you write, you activate. And when you share, you inspire others who are stuck in the same loop but haven't realized it yet. Remember, sometimes your comment is exactly what someone else needed to wake up. And if this video shook something in you, if deep down you felt something click, like something started to move inside, don't let it fade with the next scroll. Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and come with us on this journey of expanding consciousness. The universe is speaking to you. The question is, will you answer?